What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today on Tactical Pineapple, I'm going to talk a little bit about politics, I guess, but not in the way that I have been. It actually all stems from a conversation with somebody in the Discord. So, yeah, let's get into it. All right, so before we get into it, the usual plug. Head on over to tacticalpineapple.com/express. Get yourself onto the list for the Pineapple Express holsters. The new order form, which is live now and official, allows you to pay directly there. So now I'm no longer manually sending invoices. So, interestingly enough, the guy who's currently unemployed made less work for himself. So, that being said, anybody who watches this channel, use code Pineapple10. It'll get you 10% off, just because I appreciate each and every one of you. So without further ado, let's fucking get into it. All right, so yeah, I was, like I said, talking to somebody on the Discord, and it kind of came out, that they don't necessarily always agree with me, which, by the way, there's no requirement to be a part of my community that you need to agree with me on anything. But his reasoning was because he fancies himself a little bit more toward the liberal side, more of a centrist. And what's interesting is I've never really considered myself far right. Now, I know my ideals and the way I talk about things, they kind of come across as it. But what I had to explain was I'm more center myself, and it would honestly surprise a lot of people how center I really am. Because I really am kind of a live and let live kind of guy. I don't really give two shits what you do with your life, so long as it doesn't affect me or anybody I know, in a negative way. So, it's just kind of what it is, right? It's the classic liberal, you do you, boo boo, I'll do me, and nary shall we meet in the middle, right? It's kind of an interesting concept, especially in today's world, because everybody believes that you have to believe one way or the other. Partly in my community, I want to say it is zero judgment. You can join. If you have a differing opinion, I actually want you to join. I want you to have a conversation with me about why you believe it's different. And who knows? I'm very open to conversation, and I like to have that conversation. So, if you are of opposing view, I'd gladly welcome you onto a live show. I put the links out every week. Just join. I'm not going to shit on you for your ideas. I may argue with you a little bit. We may get into a heated discussion, but it's nothing more than that, right? So people can be civil and still have heated arguments or discussions, and that's a good thing. So back to it a little bit, though, I consider myself more of a centrist in the fact that I don't really care. If you're gay, be gay. Whatever. I don't give a shit. It doesn't affect me until you fucking try to, stick it in my butt or some shit. And that ain't gonna happen. So, do you. It doesn't bug me at all. But it really made me take a step back and look at kind of the content that I've been creating, and I'm not going to change it, because the fact of the matter is I still, I look at everything from the lens of, will it harm myself or will it harm somebody else, right? And really, yeah, I do argue more for the conservative side of things and more for the grand old party and the conservatives, because generally they do have the better interests of the people in mind. Obviously, what I'm going to be talking more about with career politicians and this and that, it's all about power. We know it's all about power. But really, over the last decade, any policy that has been pushed by the Democratic Party really hurts everybody. And it's not just hurting the conservatives or just hurting the, this person or that person. It fucking hurts everybody. And maybe it doesn't hurt us immediately, but in 10, 15 years, it's going to start, putting some pain on everybody. In 50, 60 years, my kids are going to suffer because of this fucking policy. And that's what I fight. And that's what I argue against. It's not the party itself, it's the policy. And I think a lot of people forget that in today's day and age, you do not need to vote party line. Like, I get it. Everybody's freaked out about, the conservatives and the Democrats and this and that and blah and gun rights. And don't get me wrong, I'm there with you. Like, constitutional rights shall not be violated, under the way things should be, right? I don't believe that our forefathers were wrong when they set forth the Constitution. They put everything there for a reason, and it all fucking matters. We're being censored, on our YouTube, and I have a Facebook page for this account, but it's literally got like one picture on it and nothing, because every single time I've tried to post something, it gets fucking taken down. My Instagram is literally, I should post more. I don't, because every single fucking thing I post gets taken down for community guidelines. It's bullshit. I can't fucking talk the way I want to talk, so why the fuck should I talk there? Well, it's a violation of my right to free speech, right? And I know they're a platform. They're privately held. They can censor whatever and blah, 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 blah. I don't give two shits, right? It's still censorship. We are in America, and they literally go into their policies with the community guidelines now saying, well, we are a global company without borders. Therefore, we have to go to the strictest policies of blah, 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 blah. So if it's a restricted substance, if it's an illegal substance, anywhere in the world, you're just going to not allow it. I call bullshit. I see it all over the fucking place on other people. It's specific people who are being censored. It's been proven. It is what it is. We work within the system. It's what we know. It's what we do. That's why I mirror these over at Odyssey. I planned on doing everything over at Odyssey, and just doing one video a week on YouTube. But fact of the matter is that YouTube has a better platform right now. There are a lot of people who have playback issues over on Odyssey, and that's nothing against Odyssey. They're a smaller company. They're just getting started, and I'm going to continue to monitor it. Maybe eventually I figure out how to live stream over there, and then that's what I do. There's also Rumble, a couple other things to check out too, but it's really the platform for growth is YouTube, and that's unfortunately you have to play in the sandbox, right? If you want to get to know the cool kids, you got to play in the sandbox, right? So I'm here, I'm doing it, I'm gonna play in that sandbox. But I just every single policy that comes out these days hurts us in some way, shape, or form. And what's sickening to me is that people believe that if you're a Republican, that you're not capable of being a sheep or that you're woke. I'm like, I literally told the guy in the Discord, like, there are sheep on both sides. Like, not everybody sees it. And people who blindly follow a party are wrong. We'll get into it a little bit more with, like, my career politician stuff that I want to talk about, but it's disgusting to see the American people blindly follow anything. You need to understand there are people who may not be as Democrat or liberal as you think who are a part of the Democratic Party. Recent memory, I can think of Sheriff David Clark. I don't think there's a single conservative who has an issue with Sheriff David Clark, or former Sheriff David Clark, because he's no longer the Milwaukee County Sheriff. Believe he works for a think tank in Washington now. But the fact of the matter is that nobody would fucking bat an eyelash if David Clark was involved in helping write a policy, simply because he's such a conservative, he was a great Republican. He wasn't a fucking Republican. He was a Democrat. He was a constitutional Democrat. He believed in the Constitution. He was very liberal, but he was very much in line with the Constitution, which made him a hero to the Republican Party. And I fucking argued with many people about the fact that he was not a Republican. And a lot of people go, well, maybe he was a Democrat on paper, but he was definitely a Republican. Like, I don't listen to his conversations. I listen to some of his talks. I have family who worked under him. Like, he was not a Republican. Like, he was definitely a liberal who believed in the Constitution, which is a good thing, right? But he was a classical liberal, very much more towards center, especially nowadays, because you either need to be way the fuck over there or you need to be way the fuck over there. And I'm not. I'm literally sitting in the middle going further right based on the policies that continue to come out that kind of shift everything over. But I'm really kind of centerline. Like, we play a lot of Tom McDonald during our live streams. Very much a liberal. The guy came from Canada. He had ideas coming to America about, what it was, what we were here. And he's still, I think, if you have a conversation with him, is not nearly as political as his music seems to be. People make it controversial because things that are close to center nowadays really seem far right. And it's ridiculous. And I kind of just needed to clarify that and just have this conversation. And I know it's not really a conversation that needed to necessarily be had with everybody, but I kind of wanted to put it out there. Like, really take a look at what's going on. I don't believe that people who are center or liberal or center right just a little bit are bad people. They're just legitimately being pushed further right because the left is moving so much farther right. So I'm going to leave the subject at that for now. I do want to say thank you for everybody who's here. If you haven't already, hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you aren't subscribed. Every little bit matters. Share the video if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, carry your fucking pistols because Brandon fucking hates them.